Putin watches Russian military parade featuring a solitary Soviet-era tank. That's kind of sad. The Victory Day, yes?
Военнослужащие почетного караула вносят на Красную площадь ордена мужества.
Soldiers who had fought in Ukraine marched in combat gear, tanks, armored vehicles, and air defense. Was that the one tank? This is the one tank? Today we see attempts to distort the truth about World War II. It is inconvenient to those who are accustomed to building their essentially colonial policy on hypocrisy and lies. Wait, what? They demolish memorials to true fighters against Nazism. Oh, this is like a Ukraine Banderite thing. Okay. And Nazi accomplices on pedestals to cross out the memory of the heroism and ability of liberating soldiers.
О той великой жертве, которую они принесли во имя жизни. Россия будет делать все, чтобы не допустить глобального столкновения. Но в то же время никому не позволим угрожать нам. Наши стратегические силы всегда в боевой готовности.
Is that seriously the only tank they had to drive around? That is actually, like, really pathetic. You know, normally a tank is what you want. Here, can I get, like, a picture of an old Victory Day parade? Hold on. Russia Victory Day Parade 2021. Yeah, they had their newer tanks lined up there. Are these, what are they, the T-14s? Am I forgetting? What are they called? The newer ones, the ones they barely have any of. The T-14 Armada, yeah. Normally you want to do a big line of tanks because they're tanks. Tanks are like the coolest and most impressive land vehicle militaries use. They're tanks. And the only one they had for display here is that single World War II tank. Is that a T-34? Pardon me, I'm not as much of a tank autist as your average War Thunder addict. Just this? This is not a modern tank, like even a little bit. It is? It's a T-34? That's what they had? Jesus. Well, T-34-85, gotcha. Weren't you playing War Thunder at some point? Yeah, but I didn't have autism over it, you know? I didn't play it for that long. You could tell the tanks are recently painted over too. Yeah, all of them were. Second day in a row as the country was, or sorry, second year in a row that the solitary symbolic tank was featured in the 9th of May military parade. Oryx, the open source intel defense analyst website, estimates the Russian army has lost at least 3,000 tanks in the last 2 years, including 2,000 destroyed, another 514 captured by Ukraine. I could be wrong on this, and I know that people have been saying this for a while, so I don't want to like overstate the case. But my understanding is that Russia might soon be running out of tanks. Unlike, say, artillery ammunition, which is pretty easy to make and ship over and reproduce, tanks are really complicated and expensive and can't really be reproduced to the same extent with the modern Russian economy. You can't, like, buy them off North Korea either. So it's very possible they might actually be running out. They won't run out, but they'll have shit tanks. Well, eventually the tanks that they'll be using won't be able to compete with modern armor. At the moment, they're just refurbishing existing hulls from long-term storage. They're actually running out of APCs like BMPs. They're running out of APCs? This is from a year ago. Yeah, I think I remember this exact article. They're already using T-55s as infantry support. Pretty sure that's just modern tanks. They have a bunch of T-60s in the storage. Yeah, but a T-60, again, I don't want to do the whole, like, military OPSEC thing. I don't know everything. But, like, past a certain point of time... First of all, old tanks may not have necessarily been maintained over the past, like, 60 years, you know? Like, the fact that they have them in storage doesn't necessarily mean they can be used at all. And secondly, a lot of older tanks are obsolete to the point where they can't... Like, a modern tank is very, very durable, right? But an older tank might be so weak that it can be easily felled even without, like, a javelin, you know? Like you might run back to a point where you have tanks that could be destroyed by, like, drones, for example, which if you're sending a tank out there that can be destroyed with a drone? That shit, you're not doing anything. You're sending that one out there for fun, you know? Like, all tanks can be killed by drones. Yes, some drones have very big missiles. I mean, like the kinds of drones that Ukraine is using, like some of those suicide bomber drones, you know? Like the kinds of drones they're using, not like modern American drones that are like piloted from 1,000 miles away and have giant drones or giant missiles attached to them. Vaush, all tanks can be destroyed by those suicide drones. I'm pretty sure I've heard otherwise. I guess it depends on how direct the hit is. One of the biggest failings of these old tanks is that you can't fit modern optics into them. Yeah, in modern tanks, like modern main battle tanks, you're inside of a supercomputer, you know? Like there's like 50 cameras pointed from outside of them. You've got like the like hacker computer modules inside. You're like you can see radar, you can see sonar, you can see heat, you can see fundamental particles. You're tracking quarks out there, you know? And a lot of older tanks is like what is their optical system? You like poke a guy's head up through the hatch on the top, you know? Well, my lack of knowledge on specific weapons aside, the broader point that I'm trying to make is that Russia is dangerously low on tanks. Russia can produce 100 main battle tanks each month. I don't think this is true at all. 100 main battle tanks? What, did they mean T-34s? I don't think that's true at all. Like, I think that's completely, like, 100% fake. Do you have any idea how expensive and difficult a main battle tank is? They're including refurbishing. Okay, not producing. What they mean is that they're spit polishing, yeah, like T-72s or whatever, that they have in somewhere in like Siberia. There's a warehouse where they're getting like 4 dudes to hand pull it with chains while it's in neutral, to pull it over to like a place where they'll all use toothbrushes to clean it or something. Yeah, pouring Coca-Cola on the batteries, unsiphoning the fuel. Not even T-72s, T-64s and shit. Yeah. Who's reporting this? Ukraine Inform, founded in 1918. You don't say. Recovery of Ukraine. Demining Ukraine. 47% of farmland in liberated Kherson region cleared. Enemy destroys or damages more than 250,000 houses in Ukraine. Enemy? After Russian aggression is expected to cost $500 billion? This is pro-Ukraine? So by liberated Kherson, they mean liberated from the liberated. Okay. It's a pro-Ukraine site, it's fine. This reeks of propaganda. It's so propagandistic I had trouble telling. It's a shitty copy from ISW if I saw correctly. Oh, I didn't look. Very, very fact checks. Very odd. Huh. Well, either way, yeah, they can't produce 100 main battle tanks a month. That'd be insane. America couldn't produce 100 main battle tanks per month. That'd be crazy. Apparently, Russia's use of old tanks in Ukraine has to do with using it as makeshift artillery. They have an abundance of shells, but not enough guns, so they're using tanks. That makes sense, yeah. They use the same shell for some of the old tanks, right? And like you could use a tank as artillery if you don't care about hitting shit, which they don't. Reactivating some of its thousands of old T-54B tanks. Okay, if we're going back to T-54s, we're essentially entering an era where you could destroy it with, like... We're not even talking javelins here. Like, toss a grenade. You know, I don't know. Bring a big gun. Anti-materiel rifle. Jesus. Yeah, you rather than needing a javelin, you could just use a normal javelin. Like a regular one. Well, if they're just using it for artillery... then it's not really seeing active, yeah, there we go. A modern Russian war machine. You're not hitting shit with this, man. Tank guns aren't made to do that, and the guns get worn out very quickly. Yeah, but again, they're not even, like, they're not reliably hitting anything anyway, so, like, who cares, right? The barrel gets worn out, it just fires inaccurately for a while. Whatever. Who cares? A lot of brain drain as well. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Perona's good channel about UA-Russian conflict. Gotcha. The crazy thing is if the USA was at this point using Pattons or Pershing tanks. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, the M48 Patton would be our rough, like, time equivalent, right? M48 Patton. This would be like the equivalent of us using this in a modern conflict. I don't know, man. The M48 is a handsome ass tank is the thing, is the problem with this, you know? I have always been a fan of the American line of main battle tanks. I have always thought we just had a good head on our shoulders for how they're designed, you know? Nah? Nazis in chat. Remote control kamikaze plane. Just today, another oil refinery. Didn't we tell Ukraine to knock this off? I hope they don't. Oil refinery in Bashkortostan was attacked by drones covered a distance 1,500 kilometers. One of the largest oil refining and petrochemical production complexes in Russia received a painful blow deep in the Russian rear. That plane made it that far? Are you kidding me? That's pretty significant, Subs and Soda. 80 to 90% is not nothing. So much for the Russian Air Force. Yeah, it is actually embarrassing. I think the whole point of these drones is that they're supposed to fly low enough that you can't get them, you can't track them with like conventional radar. You need more advanced systems to be able to track something moving that low to the ground. But this would have been like a 12-hour trip or maybe more. I don't know. You know, like this would have taken a while. Like you load the explosives up on them, you give them a slap on the bum, and then they just putter over, and like 3 days later you hear from the news that it hit. You know, okay, like whatever, man, that rules. If I recall correctly, all of Russia's AA defenses on the border, once it clears that line, is basically open season. Well, yeah, to be fair, could you imagine having evenly spaced anti-air defense across the breadth of Russia? Jesus Christ. Like, man, if something suddenly appeared over the American heartland, it would probably take a while in most cases for the Air Force to get to it. Over Russia? Like the balloon Lamau? Yeah.